Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of the Spurs Chat Podcast. Of course, it is North London Derby weekend coming up. Arsenal take on Tottenham Hotspur at the Emirates Stadium in the Premier League. It is 1st v 5th. Now, we're live on YouTube, live on X and Facebook. Let us know how you are feeling as a Spurs fan right now. And if we do have any Arsenal fans in, let us know how you are feeling ahead of this game as well. Now, as per usual, I've got three very special guests with me, three returning guests, three channel regulars, Spurs fan and channel regular Craig Dearman is back with us. Craig, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all good. International break seems to have dragged on a lot longer than it normally does, actually, this one. I don't know why. It just has. It just seems ages since we played. So, yeah, very, very much looking forward to getting the Premier League back and... yeah, what a game to come back to. Absolutely.
It's going to be a tough week, actually. Arsenal away on Sunday and then PSG away the following Wednesday in the Champions League. Also back with us is Spurs fan Gary Maloney. Gary, how are you?
Yeah, really good, thanks, Chris. Cold, like everyone else.
Cold.
But apart from that, I'm all right. Like what Craig said with the national break, but for me, it was just... I was a bit bored, but at least I wasn't losing my rag and getting really angry. So there is that. So stress levels were very, very low. And it wasn't bad watching Ireland and Scotland. You know, my mum's Scottish, so I was happy for her. So that was a good game yesterday. So all in all, not too bad.
Yeah, I know Gareth was very happy as an Ireland fan, and of course Scotland have done the business as well. So it's been a good week for those countries, certainly. Also, Also back with us is channel regular and Arsenal fan Kenny Ken. Kenny, how are you?
I'm all good. So I've had a fantastic weekend because I spent it in the boxing. You know, obviously football comes first, but I was at your grand. Nice little West Indian, by the way. Few drunk people. There was one woman, you know, like she fell over and she thought she was really nice and hot. She came and spoke to me. She said, "Hello." I said, "You're the one that fell over, aren't you?" And she's like, "Oh, yeah." Started touching me on. I said, "See that woman over there with blonde hair?" And an angry look said, "Yeah, who's that?" That's my wife. And she went, "Oh, sorry." Oh, yeah, that went well. But I did a video that went viral, and I had a lot of Spurs fans telling me, you know, where to go and tell me that I wasn't welcome in their ground. I said, "Look, I've got my disinfectant ready, and I do have hot water. I can have a good hot shower, and I certainly got loads of shower gel. So don't worry, mate." But I thanked them, for the West Indian. They said, "Yeah, typical Arsenal fan." Yeah. Well, no, I've got some like super, on the toilet. But yeah, they said typical Arsenal fan moment. They didn't get their own way. Well, yeah, I wanted you back to win because for the good of boxing. But the North London Derby's upon us. Can't wait. Any Arsenal fan who says that this is not the biggest game of the season, any Arsenal fan who says Spurs are not our rivals, you're not one of us.
Yeah.
Kenny, you mentioned there about the boxing on Saturday. I was there as well, and the atmosphere was absolutely incredible. What is it like to go to a stadium in North London where the atmosphere is that incredible?
Well, it's funny to say that because I spoke to a few Spurs fans, and they said that the only time there's atmosphere at your ground is when we come over and Chelsea come over. Now, I can only take the word for it, but I've got three Tottenham fans with me. Maybe you can confirm or deny. But one thing I will say about your ground, the facilities are lovely, and because my wife, she's got a, fibromyalgia. Shout out to you. We always get to go through the disabled entrance, and every time we go through the disabled entrance, we're outside your dressing rooms. So I have a good look at your dressing rooms. All the players, you guys have done your tours. All the players from like the 2020s all the way down to 1901s. Yeah, and obviously you're on a board as well. I had a look at I think that's in a facility somewhere, but we don't want to talk about that anyway because you guys are going to remind me that you were champions in Europe. I'm sure I'm going to get that all through the.
Did you see the trophy again? Did you have a little look?
Not really, because I think we got a few trophies coming our way this season. Hopefully.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad.
Kenny, I'm glad you brought that up because let's talk about our European success, champions of Europe. What did you make of that game and our success? Where were you that week?
It's funny to say that. I was at home watching it, and I was actually cooking a nice meal with jerk chicken and like fried rice, and I was thinking, Man United are going to win this. So I thought, right, enjoy your meal. I'll tell you one thing, Brennan Johnson, Andre Onana. And I thought, oh my God. And I thought, okay, I'm going to get back in this because, Postecoglou's not going to park the bus because Postecoglou plays good football. Bloody hell, he went and parked the bus. And I was thinking, come on, get the ball in the box. Even when the header went in, it went straight at your goalkeeper. And then I was looking at it, it went injury time, 5 minutes. I said, please, just someone get in there. And then when it got to the last few seconds, I thought, oh,
7 minutes it was.
And then the referee blew the whistle early. He blew the whistle early. He didn't finish all of injury time. And I swear, my world just collapsed. Arsenal fans who actually believe in the rivalry, we just went absolutely ballistic. We didn't know what we were angry at. We were angry because you won something and we didn't. Yeah. It didn't even occur to us that we weren't in the same competition as you guys. And we had no chance to win it because we weren't in the same competition. But because you won a trophy and we've gone 5 years without a trophy, trust me, it was absolutely pandemonium. People were having cancelling, people were swearing. We hated the players, all because of you lot.
Kenny, who had the more successful season last year, Spurs or Arsenal?
Danny Blanchard, your most famous captain and one of your best players ever, said the game's about glory. Yep. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, you can tell us.
All right. Yeah. Well. If you want me to elaborate,
look, he doesn't need you to. He's just pushing you to it.
Look, you know what? It hurts you winning a trophy because one thing that Arsenal fans always had over Spurs fans is trophies. That no silverware, and then it occurred to us that actually we're going through a similar sort of trophy drought. Because remember, during the Wenger years, we went 9 years without a trophy.
Yeah.
Come to the end of May, we don't really need anything. It's 6 years. And then we're going for that, similar record. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to be bold to say this. And feel free to clip me up on this.
Get ready,
the squad we have is too good not to win nothing. I'll be actually stunned if we don't win anything. But if Mick Arteta doesn't win anything, with all the, all the money he's been given, all the support he's been given from Burr, all the support from the crowd, and we've supposedly got the best squad in the Premiership. It's not even a debate. He's got to go. It's not a debate. It's adios.
Let me just come to Craig and Gary on that as well, because Kenny just said there he'd be surprised if Arsenal don't win anything this season. Craig, would you?
No, because I think Manchester City are going to win the league. I'll come out and say that. I agree. I just think they're starting to purr, and there's nothing. I'm trying to be balanced. There's not nothing against Arsenal because they're our rivals. It's just the way I see it. I think Man City have had their sticky moment, and thankfully for us, we was there when they went through their sticky part. I think look, they will go a few games where they draw a few, but I think they're going to win a lot more than they lose. That's not to say Arsenal won't. I just think City have just look so good at the moment. I think City have got a stronger squad than Arsenal as well. As for the cups, who knows? Look, I've been alive long enough to see Arsenal and have to live through Arsenal winning the league, winning cups and stuff. So is it really going to change my life if Arsenal win something? Probably not. I haven't got many Arsenal fans like Gary has as friends, I must admit, and the ones I do have are thoroughly decent blokes. So in that respect, it would hurt that Arsenal and your rivals win something, but it really wouldn't change my life massively. That's not to say I don't want them to win anything. And Kenny, with all due respect, I don't want Arsenal to win anything because I'm a Spurs fan. But, you have to say, if somebody wins the league, you have to say they deserve to win it because it's over 38 games. A cup, sort of anybody can win, not anybody, but you know what I mean? So I suppose a roundabout sort of way, I'm going to stick my head on the block and say, no, I don't think Arsenal will win this season. And I agree with Kenny. If Arsenal don't, because you think you've got most of the pieces of the puzzle in place there, and I think Eze was a big missing part of that puzzle. If you don't win something this season, I think questions have got to be asked about Arteta myself. But that's for you guys to worry about, not us.
Gary, what about you?
Well, it's interesting because it just boils down to results, right? So I go back to when Liverpool were playing Man United in the car, listening to TalkSport, and they were talking about Arsenal losing the game. I don't know who Arsenal were playing. Ken would know. And obviously United and Liverpool, right? So they were talking about that and saying, oh, more than likely Arsenal going to lose, more than likely Liverpool going to win. And then the gap, I think, was going to be, I don't know if it was 7 or 8 points. It was something like that. And they were getting Arsenal fans to call up and everyone else asking, do you think the season is done? And quite a lot of Arsenal fans were saying, yeah, I reckon that'll be it. If we lose and Liverpool obviously win, that's it done. Well, that didn't happen. And then obviously, Liverpool are a bit shaky. Arsenal, listen, let's give them credit. Their defence and their team and squad's been brilliant, right? But then you fast forward and then you see them against Sunderland. And then you see Man City just pop their heads up. And then you think, oh, there's that bloke called Haaland and Foden. And you see them, really dominate a game. And then you start thinking, oh, actually, because where I was pretty much earlier in the season, I thought it was Arsenal's league, right? I was very, very worried. I had nightmares about it. And I'm not just saying that. I did. I woke up and I said to the wife, do you know what? I've dreamt that Arsenal won the league. It was horrible. But now I'm actually going the other way. And I'm thinking, I don't think they are going to win the league. I do generally think City, because we know City can go 15, 16 games, not even unbeaten, just winning. And I think also it's about, that confidence of done it before and know it. And I think they will get nervous and the pressure will come on Arsenal. And is that team and that squad man enough and big enough to deal with that pressure? I don't think they are. I really genuinely don't think they are. But do I think they will win something this season? Possibly, but not the league. No, I don't think they will.
Kenny, what's your reaction to that? Because all three of us are saying that we think that Man City will win it and not you.
That's understandable because from a footballing point of view, you're going by deja vu. It's not because you don't like Arsenal.
No,
you look to the fact that you're looking at Man City squad, especially in attacking options, and you're looking at Man City's experience, Guardiola as well. When Arsenal have been the front runners, we were the front runners in 22-23. Man City came and picked our pockets in 22-20, in 23-24, which is Arsenal's best ever team under Arteta. Arteta's best side was that 23-24 side. That team was built to win a title, but it didn't win because Aston Villa came and took us apart, and that was it. There was no margin for error. Man City, played you guys at your grand. A lot of Arsenal fans disgraced themselves. Complete and utter treachery. That was treachery. You know the ones that who they are. Some of them you know is personally, Chris. To go on an Arsenal podcast and basically have Spurs memorabilia because you wanted Spurs to help you out against Man City. That's disgrace.
We're never going to help you out, are we?
Well, let me say something there. If I needed to rely on Tottenham to, help me win the Champions League or help me win the league, I'll tell you one thing. I wanted Man City to batter you guys because guess what? The day I rely on Spurs is going to be a bad day as an Arsenal fan. We're friends, but on match day, you're my enemy. Exactly. I'm from Islington. You lot are Haringey Club. It's war. I do not want Spurs to win nothing. But getting back to my point, the litmus test for Man City is going to be Newcastle. Because if you look at Man City, the Man City of old went to places like Brighton, Newcastle, Brentford, and they won. This Man City side last season weren't doing that. They were dropping points. They were fallible. This season, they've been to Brighton, lost. Aston Villa, a game that they should be winning, they want to win the league, an away game, they've lost. But it's now about Newcastle because let's look at Newcastle. Away from home, they're poor. At home, it's still a hard ground to go.
Yeah.
So if they win on Saturday and they put us under pressure ahead of the North London derby, then maybe, just maybe, it is on. I do think that you have to take Man City seriously. In terms of Arsenal, our defence, is strong, extremely strong. We've got two players for every position, but the problem is our manager. Even though there's not much of a gap between like the first choice and the bench, tactically there's a massive gap because he's running players like Saka into the ground. He's running Rice at the ground, he's running, defenders at the ground, but he has to, because if you take away that spine, he's not convinced that the players coming through are going to help us. That's why, with the injuries to Gabriel, the injuries to our players, short term, not an issue. Long term, I think that's where you guys do have a point, that it's going to take its toll, because as much as you want, Hincapié to be as good as Gabriel Magalhaes, he's not. The same thing with if anything that was Saka, it's not the same. So it's a case where Spurs at home, Chelsea away, Brentford away, and then you've got Aston Villa, which is bloody hell. That is a big away game. If we can negotiate them, then who knows? But yeah, it's not over when in November or October. It's over in May. Yeah, so
too early.
I take one game at a time. For instance, a lot of people say Arsenal got the best squad in the league. I don't actually believe that. What we have that is better than everyone else is the defence, and we're more of a settled side than Liverpool, and we're more of a settled side than Man City. If that makes the best, well, you only have the best squad. So you only have the best squad when you win the league. Simple.
Yeah, I'm surprised actually. What Gary's point was earlier, when you see some fans kind of celebrating, saying it's in the bag in October, November, it's absolutely ridiculous, because there is such a long way to go. Injuries, really tough games, international breaks, suspensions. You name it. There is a long, long way to go. 38 games of a Premier League season is a long time, and no one should be celebrating in October and November. And like you said there, Gary, as well, that Man City, have strung some results together, and all of a sudden they're in it. 4 points away. So it makes it very interesting again. Craig, I want to come to you first before we talk about Arsenal's season so far and Tottenham's season so far. Just want to ask you all, personally for you, what does the North London derby mean to you, especially on a match day?
It's like Kenny said earlier, it's the biggest game of the season. Whether that be home and away. You'd say personally, when we're at home, I look forward to it a bit more because you're at home, right? Even though that doesn't actually matter for Spurs much this season, I think we've probably got more of a chance beating Arsenal at the Emirates, to be honest, than if we was playing them at home. So I'm kind of glad that the first North London derby is away. I think last year's was a sort of break from, not tradition, but I think we was at home first last year, which it never usually happens that way. We're usually at the Emirates the first one. Yeah. So it's one of those, and it's generally on a Sunday, isn't it? I think from memory, the last few years, it's one of those when you wake up in the morning, it's the first thing on your mind. And it's weird. It's probably one of the only games, unless we've like the Europa League final. It's there. As soon as you wake up, you're like, right, North London derby. It's kind of consumes me for the day, because I think I'm looking forward to it, and it's the way. And I know Gary's watched it from behind his sofa or gone and sat in his car a couple of times, and he's messaging on the group saying, "What's the fucking score? What's the score?"
Go watch it.
It's look, I'm not one of those fans. I mean, there has been some times when I've when we've either been in the lead or we're drawing, and it's got a bit dicey, and I'm like, oh my god, but I have to watch it. I can't not watch it. But everybody's different. It's certainly one of the most exciting games for me. One of the days I look forward to the most in the Premier League calendar, without a doubt. You're not a fan if you. This is why we play. This is why we watch our team play football, right? For these big games, and this is the game that matters. Let's be honest. Chelsea, for me, as much as I hate Chelsea and going to Chelsea, I don't know how Kenny feels about Chelsea. I know Chris feels about Chelsea. I'm pretty sure how Gary feels about Chelsea, although he does live with a Chelsea fan. So it might be a bit different. But Chelsea are kind of, if Arsenal's there, for me, Chelsea are kind of there. So that's the two for me that really get my juices flowing, shall we say.
You asked Kenny there about Chelsea and Arsenal. They're friends, Craig. They do a lot of business with one another. They're friends.
Football
Gary.
friends.
Gary, let's come to you, because Craig mentioned there, people like me and Craig, we steer clear of Arsenal fans, but you do have a lot around you.
loads. I mean, and I'm glutton for punishment. I'll be down the gym. Every single person down the gym knows I'm a big Spurs fan. I know all the Arsenal fans. Literally. I mean, it was so funny because I went on holiday a few weeks ago. I don't think I told you guys this. And we're literally waiting to get on the plane. And I looked to my right, and there's 3 people all in full Arsenal, and the guy goes to my gym. And my missus was one of the first. She went, "Look at that guy and all the Arsenal stuff." I looked around. I said, "He goes to my gym. I've been talking to him for the last 2 years. Don't know what his name is, like most people in the gym, but went over to him, chatting away on the same plane, spent not in the same apartment, but then obviously on the way back we're there. And then we were talking, obviously on the way back, about the North London derby. Now,
can I? Sorry to interrupt. Can I just say, I was at the airport a couple of years ago going on holiday with a family, and who do I bump into? I hear this guy shouting, really, talking very loudly like he was shouting, and it was Gary Maloney. And I'm like, "Gary, what are you doing here?" He's like, "I'm going on holiday with the family," and I was going on holiday with the family as well. And I'm like, "What?" And I'm thinking, "Where are you going? Are you coming to the same place?" So this happens to you a lot,
Chris. The funny thing about it is, honestly, you will not believe this. We have this running joke wherever we go out. I mean, it probably happens to you a lot, obviously, Chris, with the podcast. But I always end up seeing someone that knows me. Most of the time, I don't know them, but they know me, right? And it will be for all hosts of things. It could be my TV stuff, my weekend work, the podcast. It could be anything, right? Or they've just heard me in a different postcode. But literally, she said to me when we were driving to the airport, "I wonder if you'll know anyone at the airport or in Tenerife." And I said to her, "There's probably a good chance." But to literally be standing right next, I mean, I never met his kids and family, but they all had like the Arsenal tops on, the Arsenal bag, everything else. But listen, he is a lovely guy and stuff. But I had this one on, actually. I travelled in this. And it was just so funny because I thought you cannot get away from Arsenal fans, no matter where you are, what country you go to, they're everywhere, right? Yeah. And going on the point that you said, they definitely are everywhere when we play them, and when we lose, there's even more of them. But for me, the North London derby is the whole reason why I'm a Tottenham fan, in the fact that you've got a lot of other clubs that apparently have derbies, we know the clubs and stuff, and they'll try and big it up on Sky and everything else. But there's nothing quite like the North London derby. Now, people will argue and say it gets very hot, heated and feisty when we play Chelsea, and they're right. But like I've said on many occasions, it's not really a derby because we basically go out and we've lost before we play. Now, the difference when we play Arsenal is we have a very good chance of beating Arsenal. That's the difference. Now, Craig touched on it earlier. Now, normally when we go to the Emirates, I went last season, we went 1-0 up, lost 2-1, right? But didn't play too bad. We were in the game. Obviously, we took the lead. But this season, we've got the best away form. They've got the best home form. A lot of the fans and a lot of the neutrals are thinking it's going to be easy pickings for Arsenal. And I think because of that, I think it's going to be a really good game. And I absolutely love it. And I'm glad that we are at the Emirates first. But, listen, I go back to 91. I was a 15-year-old kid. I got my ticket off a towel outside. He was an Arsenal fan, by the way, 50 quid. Walked in, trying to find where I need to go. Gazza runs up, hits that free kick. That still lives with me now. That free kick and beating Arsenal in that semi-final, for me, although I went to the final and saw us lift the FA Cup and beat Nottingham Forest, that semi-final was better because Arsenal were on for the double. We stopped them doing it, and we beat our North London rivals. Even though they're from South London originally, we all know that, but we'll keep that quiet, obviously, for Kenny's thing. But for me, there's nothing quite like the kind of everything that goes with the North London derby. Whether we're home or away, it's the first fixture you look at when it comes out. And for me, will I watch it? If I'm not there, last season I got a ticket last minute and I went. If I don't get a ticket, I'll watch bits of it on the TV. But Craig's right when he says this, Chris. If I'm not at the game, there's been many a time when I've left my phone at home. I've gone out for a run for 2 hours, and had nothing to do with social media or any fan or anything, because I can't take the messages and the stuff that come with it, especially if we do go behind or we lose. So it will be a difficult one come Monday. But I think come Monday, I'll have a smile on my face.
Gary, let me stay with you for a second, because since 1992, when the Premier League started, we have played Arsenal on 66 occasions. Arsenal won 27, 24 draws, 15 Tottenham wins. Now, I've said this stat since 2010 and since starting this podcast, and it remains. We've only won away at Arsenal twice, once at Highbury in 1993 in the first Premier League season. And the reason why that is because they were playing in a cup final and they rested their team. They put the reserve team out. We won at Highbury, and once at the Emirates Stadium. Of course, they moved in 2006. We won in 2010. Yunus Kabul with the winner. What is it about this game in particular, going away to Arsenal in the Premier League, why Spurs are struggling so much? 33 visits to either Highbury or the Emirates, and we've only won twice.
Listen, we can sit here and talk as Arsenal fans and, and the Tottenham players and all that. But listen, Arsenal ain't silly, right? They know the players, the manager, the management, the tea lady, every single person in and outside of that Arsenal stadium knows what this game means for the fans. So Arsenal will do anything and everything to win that game. And you can be sure, Kenny will list off a few players that he's not keen on, don't think are great. But you mark my words, on Sunday, they will play out of their skin. And that's why you've got that side of it with Arsenal, and you've also got the other side of it with Tottenham, where they just don't want it enough. It's like almost feels like a mentality, psychological thing. Like, you talk about a good atmosphere at the stadium. When we beat them 3-0 at our stadium was the last time we had a good atmosphere. And you had that feeling, as soon as the game kicked off, I thought to myself, we've won. I just knew how we approached the game when it started, That's what we need to do. If we turn up like the Arsenal players are on kickoff on Sunday, we've got a very, very good chance. And I actually think this is our best chance of beating Arsenal at the Emirates than we've ever had. I genuinely do. And you might think I'm mad with that because, they've got such a great home record. But listen, we have got a good away record. And like I said, I'd rather be playing them at the Emirates. You
think we're going to the Emirates on Sunday afternoon and winning that game?
I think we are, yeah. And I'll tell you why I think we are. Because everyone thinks we're not going to. And if you go back to, I think it was last season or season before, and even earlier this season, and I know Man City's not Arsenal and everything else, but I know the Tottenham team and the players can do it. And I think Sunday, we're going to beat them. I genuinely believe it. Clip it, because when we come back to this, you'll be like, how did you know? I've just got that feeling that we're going to beat Arsenal. I really genuinely do. I'm actually going into this game on Sunday nowhere near as nervous and as worried as what I normally am. Maybe I'm stupid, but I'm actually quite relaxed about it. I don't think the pressure's on Tottenham. The pressure's on Arsenal. And I think it's a free hit for us. And I think because of that, we'll turn up. And let's not forget, our away form is pretty good.
Kenny, let's come to you. What does the North London derby mean to you? And also tell us your thoughts and feelings about Arsenal's season so far, because, of course, sitting top of the Premier League, played 11, won 8, drawn 2 and lost only 1, have a goal difference of plus 15, sitting on top of the Premier League with 26 points. And you've kept 7 clean sheets in the Premier League so far.
Well, first and foremost, I want to address the, Arsenal and Chelsea. Arsenal and Chelsea being special friends. Let's not forget.
I thought you might.
Let's not forget. I can name Colin Lee, Gustavo Poyet, Gordon Jury, and Jimmy Greaves if I really wanted to. But I have anyway.
Yeah, I don't think any of us were born when those transfers happened.
I don't know. You were born when Gustavo Poyet played.
That's a long time ago, Ken. Come on, that is a long time ago.
I'm sure one of you guys were fans of Gordon Jury. So
yeah,
it's not. You've done a bit of business with Chelsea as well. But let me tell you something about the North London derby. I'm from Islington, born and bred. As far as I'm concerned, you see, there's no hairs on this arm, but on match day, the hairs just come out. I get so excited. I get nervous. The chest, gets clenched. I'm so excited. You know when you wake up early because you just can't sleep. That's what I'm like before derby day, especially when I'm not going to the game. I just think about all the times when I was a kid. There was a time when Pat Jennings, when I was a kid, I'm a Terry Neal boy. Pat Jennings was in goal. One time when I was 5, I said he was playing for Tottenham. Next minute he's playing for us. I said, that's a bit strange. What's he doing playing for us? But anyway, Pat Jennings went 4 years without losing the North London derby until bloody Steve Archibald. That's when I really, really hated you guys, because we won the first game in 1980-81, 2-0. goals by David Price and Frank Stapleton, and then a reverse Steve Archibald scored. And then in the 80s, you had, some very, very good players like, Glenn O'Donnell, R.D. Les Villa, Mark Falco, Crooks, Archibald, Ray Clements in goal. You had a really good side whilst we were struggling a bit because Terry Neal was like on his last legs. So that's how the hate built up. And also, when I'm from in Finchley Park, there's a few Spurs fans. I don't know what went on in their childhood. I don't know what their dads were doing because their dads they need to be reported to social services for allowing their kids to support Spurs. There's even some Spurs fans who are born in Highbrook, they're born in Holloway, yet they support Tottenham. How does that work?
Yeah, but Arsenal was Woolwich though, Ken, so that's probably why.
How does that work, innit? Born and bred in Holloway, went to the same school as Charlie George, yet he supports Tottenham. How's that? How is that allowed, eh? Who does that? And his son follows suit and supports Tottenham. I wonder who that is. Wonder who that is. Anyway,
Kenny, give us your thoughts and feelings on this season, because are you feeling confident? Is the Arsenal fan base overall feeling confident that you can go on and lift the Premier League title, particularly after these last few years of finishing second?
I think the majority. If you were to speak to any Arsenal fans or social media, and it was because we have a few handpicked fans, like when they go on Sky Sports, you Talk Sports, or any of the sort of mainstream. The kind of fans are positive Arsenal fans. They're pro Arteta because obviously, if you want to, represent the club in the media, you've got to say nice things about the club. So they'll tell you, yeah, we're the favourites. There's a few people said, yeah, it's over. It'll be over by April. There's a lot of Arsenal fans who are like that. But I think what a lot of Arsenal fans, if we have sort of like a bit of Stockholm syndrome when it comes to, we know because we haven't won the league for 21 years, because we've seen Man City just gazump us, we saw Liverpool win it last season. We always have these kind of doubts. Like the Sunderland game wasn't so much a reality check; it was a reminder that despite the fact we got an excellent defence, despite the fact that teams find it very hard to overload us, if any team that has a great defence, doesn't matter where they go to defence, if you attack them in numbers and you play with pace, you're gonna cause problems. That's what Sunderland did. They pressed our best players. They got bodies forward, relied on their set pieces, and they deservedly got the point. They could have won it, and then we could have nicked it. But
you almost won it at the end, didn't you?
Yeah, that's what I always say. We're not fallible. We're fallible. We're not you know what I mean? We're not infallible. Like a lot of people think, no one could break Arsenal down. I don't care whether you're a great defence or not. If you play with pace and get bodies forward, we'll struggle like we did before. So it's not like home and dry. But one thing that is keeping us at the top of the table is our defence. We're not conceding goals. We don't look like conceding goals. It's so well drilled. So moving forward, that'll be the difference between us winning the league or not winning the league. However, injuries will take its toll because if you look at the programme from November the 23rd when we play you up until the 21st of March, there's no breathers. There's virtually a game every 2 or 3 days because we're going to be in the Champions League. We get in the last 16. Yeah. That's not arrogance. I believe that. And then if we get to the League Cup final, that's more games. Then the FA Cup is more games, although we normally go out. I think fatigue will be our best enemy. Our worst enemy. Sorry, fraudulent slip. Our worst enemy. Well, best enemy for you guys, but our worst enemy, because if you keep on losing your key players, it's going to take its toll.
Tough.
Now, if Man City getting a run where they have fewer injuries, and then we slip up because we've got some really big, difficult games, that could be the reason why we won't win the league. Because at the end of the day, losing Gabriel, we could lose Saka. We've already lost Odegaard. We've already lost Havertz. Saliba's an injury worry as well. I don't care what anyone says. If you keep on losing your spine, your bench is not as good as your spine. And then other teams are going to think, right, no Saliba, no Gabriel, no Saka. We're going to have a go at Arsenal today. And that's my biggest worry. But I'll reiterate what I said earlier. A team, I've never seen a squad like ours or any squad in the league that has got 2 players for every position. They've got an excellent defence. They've got everything they need. Like, they've got the best sporting director in Berta. They're getting a new scout. Everything's in place for success. I've never seen a team with those kind of advantages not win the league. But as I said before, if we don't win the league, heads will have to roll. Arteta will have to pack his bags and find employment in any other league, but not with Arsenal, because enough's enough. There's no excuses now. No referees, no injuries, no, teams, like I said, raising their game against us. Too bad. Got no problems. All Arsenal fans say we've got the best squad. A lot of the experts think we're the favourites. What can go wrong? Plenty, but there'll be no excuses. I'll be the first person who'll be ranting and demanding that Arteta be removed. I'm not messing about no more. We got to win something this season, not next season, not the season afterwards. Distrust the process. BS. It's over. Win today.
So Kenny, one word. Who's going to win the league at the end of this season?
You're asking me.
Yeah.
Arsenal have to win it. So I have to believe that we're going to win it. And you feel free to clip it, because I'll take every barbs from you, and I'll take all the, like the banter, because I've got broad shoulders. But I'll be absolutely gutted if Arsenal don't win.
Can I just ask you very quickly, because you said, Arsenal have to win something, but surely if you won the Carabao, the FA Cup, that's not enough for him to keep his job, is it? Well,
there's a lot of Arteta's got a lot of acolytes amongst the media, and he's got a lot of what I call top gooners. The ones who go on TV and claim represent. They'll say, well, they'll go up to me and say, Ken, you wanted a trophy. Well, what you complaining about now? And then you've got people like Martin Keown, one of the biggest Arteta lovers out there. Ian Wright is not too far behind. So they're part of the problem. There's no balance whenever an Arsenal fan goes on any of these programs. It's all, everything's great. Yeah, the process is great. We've got the best defence.
Let me ask you just quickly, Ken. Sorry, Chris, to jump in.
It's got great air, but no one who goes to these shows actually criticises him.
Well, Kenny, what did you make of the documentary when he got the light bulb out and started telling everyone about the light bulb and playing the music? I refuse to watch it, because the reason why I refuse to watch that that documentary on Amazon. What's the point of watching it? I was there. We didn't get the Champions League. You picked us. What's the point of watching that? Rewatching it. I was there. I went to virtually every game. Yeah.
Well, it's like me starring in the school play, and then my mum gave me the video and I watch it again. Don't need to watch the school play. I was in it.
Let me ask you, Ken, if you win the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, either, is that enough for you as an Arsenal fan?
Well, I think
you need a European trophy, though, don't you? You need a European trophy.
Let's be realistic, though, Chris. Come on.
Yeah, I suppose.
Let's be realistic.
Well, next year you've got to say that you've got more experience winning European trophies. And you're right. You've won 4, we've won 2, and our European credentials is an absolute disgrace for a club of our size to only win 2 European trophies.
You've done all right with other trophies, mate. You've done all right.
Yeah, but the fact is, if you want to be like a super club, you have to win European trophies. You have to win the Champions League. Yeah, and Arsenal, I can tell you till I'm blue in the face that we're the 3rd best team in the country, and we are, but we haven't got Man United's 3 Champions Leagues. We haven't got Liverpool's 6 Champions Leagues. Not the Forest have won it twice. Aston Villa's won it. Celtic have won it. Hamburg have won it. What's Arsenal won? It's embarrassing for a club of our repute not to win the Champions League. And it's even more embarrassing to only have 2 trophies.
You said 2, Ken. I thought you've only won 1 European trophy, isn't it?
No. We won the Fairs Cup in 1970. We came from behind against Anderlecht with 3-1 down, and we won 3-0. Yeah. Part of folklore. And then obviously, Copenhagen, when we played Parma, when they had players like Aspria, they had Apolloni, Moose.
That Winners' Cup.
That time, 1-0 to the Arsenal. You remember that, don't you?
Alan Smith. Does that really count, that one?
I don't think that counts, Ken, does it?
With our record in Europe, of course it can.
We'll count the Audi Cup then in that case.
Yeah, we'll stick the Audi Cup in there then.
No. Look, it is embarrassing. I've got to take it on the chin because
I wasn't
exactly
recognised though, is it?
And 1970, I don't think any of us were born.
No.
Oh, here we go again. I mean, what a metamorphosis. I mean, a year ago, we weren't even talking about silverware. Your silverware.
We love you, really, Ken. We love you. We love you.
It's amazing, isn't it? The confidence of us Spurs fans now that we've won the Europa League. You know,
that's it, mate.
Yeah. When you're sitting here next to the replica trophy, you know, I'm looking at it every day.
That's the real one, Chris.
Looking at it every day, love it.
The replica's at the stadium.
I do big up. What I think I do respect from Spurs is that when you play teams in the Champions League, you know, when you played your Real Madrid, you played your Barcelonas, you've shown no fear. You just gone and imposed yourself in them. So, hand of hand, up until the 23-24 season, your actual Champions League record is actually better than ours. Don't get me wrong. We've been it a lot longer than you have. Yeah. But in terms of the return, your return's a lot better. That's just facts. Yeah. And the fact that you've beaten, you know, a lot of big teams when they've had their best players. We haven't. So I can't, as a football fan, I can't go up to you and say, because I deal with facts. You know, respect you, Kenny, because I had this conversation not so long ago with someone, and they didn't support Spurs, and we were just saying how Spurs have always been a really good Champions League team, and we've always given everything in the Champions League, which we've been a very entertaining team in the Champions League. Let's move on to talk about Tottenham. Craig, let's come to you because, of course, going to the Emirates on Sunday. We know that 9 players will be out. Solanke, Maddison, Dragushin, Gray, Davis, Basuma, Kota Takai and Dejan Kulusevski. 2 players are doubtful, which are Sarr and Bergvall, and we are in hope that Mohamed Kudus is back for this game. So Spurs could actually be without 11 players, but 9 definite players that will be out for this North London derby clash. By the way, the referee will be Michael Oliver this coming Sunday. Craig, talk to me about our injury problems at the moment, how it is affecting the style of play, how it is affecting Thomas Frank in what he can do with this squad and this team, formations, etc. Do you expect a back 5 this coming Sunday against Arsenal, or indeed in the upcoming fixture against PSG as well? And how are you feeling ahead of this one? And also talk to us about the season so far. Have you been impressed with Tottenham? I know there's a lot there.
Let's cover the formation first. It wouldn't surprise me at all, actually, to go to a back 3. Having Danzo, Romero and Van de Ven, you really wouldn't to see that. It wouldn't be a surprise as such because he's done it before, but wouldn't surprise me. Really wouldn't. I think it just depends who he sees as. I think left backs. I did on the video today. I was speaking about 3 key positions. It's certainly left back. Is it going to be Udogie or Spence? If he wants to perhaps be a bit more progressive, then I think you go with Udogie and then put Odegaard on the left wing. I think Odegaard possibly start on the left. Well, I'd like to see Odegaard start because I think the only other option would be Richarlison, because I would hope he's going to go with Tell through the middle and give him a chance at centre forward berth. So I think Kudus brings something a little bit extra and different on the right. Undoubtedly, he's going to go with a double pivot, probably a Bentancur and Paulinho in the middle. I can see why. See, this is the sort of game we've talked on here about. The manager needs to be a bit more progressive with his performances, but his game's perhaps like the Arsenal one, and considering the injuries we've got, I wouldn't expect us to go all guns blazing, certainly not like an Ange Postecoglou team, not that you get that from Thomas Frank anyway. I think we're going to be a bit more counter-attacking, like I say, with that double pivot. And I would expect Arsenal to have a majority of, or the lion's share of the possession probably, and just hope that, come at us to try and break us down. I think it's a big miss for Arsenal, Gabriel being out. I think that's going to be a big loss for Arsenal. Season so far, it's a weird one because we are where we are, but we could quite easily be in 12th or 13th, to be honest with you. It's so tight, isn't it?
Yeah, let me just interrupt. Sorry. So we are fifth at the moment. Played 11, won 5, drawn 3, and lost 3. We have a goal difference of +9. We have 18 points. So we are 4 points away from being second, and we are 3 points above being 13th.
Yeah, I must admit, from an outsider looking in the league, what a league to be in. That's how you want it to be, really. It is, isn't it? We don't want teams running away with it. You're gonna realistically only 2 or 3 teams can win this Premier League. The teams down the bottom have not got a chance. But to have it that tight from 13th to 5th, for example, well, even you could throw in second. If the right results go, there could be 3 points between 13th and second. It's incredible, really. I haven't been massively impressed with the style of football we've been playing this season, I must admit. Now, whether that's down to injuries or not, I don't know. I think he's certainly hamstrung by certain injuries. Perhaps that's the wrong word to use, hamstrung. That gives me nightmares, Mickey Van but I do think he's been limited. But to see us at home and to hear the crowd booing so many times already this season, and that's because of the style of play. Make no bones about it. It's because of the style of play, and you've seen we can't sell tickets for the Champions League games, a competition we're all desperate to get back in, and we can't sell the stadium out now. I think a lot of that is to do with ticket prices, but as we've said before, if we're winning and people want to go and watch the team, not many people moan about ticket prices. The tickets get sold. So I think it's a mixture of a lot of things. I think it's price of tickets. But for me, the main thing is the style of football. This club has always wanted that, the to dare is to do attitude. And we're just not seeing that in Tottenham. I'm not seeing that in Tottenham's style of play at the moment. That's not to discount what Thomas Frank's done so far. The results have been... the results are the results. We are where we are in the league because he's played the football that we've played. I think we've been lucky in some games, but we are where we are because of the football we've played. I think there's a certain amount of truth to the fact that a lot of teams around us have helped us out. I think everybody's beaten everybody else, and I think when we've had a bad result, I think that can look a bit better than what it actually is. Where we've lost a game perhaps in an early kickoff or on a Saturday afternoon, and then teams around us have done the same. They've dropped points, so I think that sort of masks it a bit. But on the whole, I just want to see a bit more exciting football. Now, people will argue that's purely because he hasn't got the players to do it. I'm not convinced that when Maddison and Kulusevski come back, the football's going to change drastically. I hope I'm wrong. But I'm definitely sure that Frank has been dealt a bad hand with our centre forward and forward positions in general, because he's really only had Kudus that's been doing anything. And Kudus has only, I think, scored 1 goal, hasn't he? Obviously created a few, but to have a proper number 9 that's firing on all cylinders, we just haven't had that this season. And I think that's going to be vitally important. So if Solanke can come back and do that. Maloney's only here for another, how many months of the season left? 6 months, something like that, 7 months, and then he's gone. So he hasn't got long to prove himself. So we're kind of relying on Solanke and any business we do in the transfer window. So I hope I'm wrong in that. I hope we can get our centre forward firing, whether that be Solanke or somebody else. And I think we definitely need strengthening on the left-hand side as well. But when all that clicks, hopefully Javi Simmons will click as well. I'll be really interested to see how we're going to do going forward.
Yeah. Gary, before I come to you, I just wanted to make this point of the last couple of home games in the Premier League game. Of course, we lost 1-0. That first half, we only had 1 shot on target, which was a tame shot by Mohamed Kudus. And in that second half, we came out 1-0 down at half time, came out, didn't have a shot on target. And then in that opening 45 minutes against Manchester United, I know we had the Copenhagen, good, impressive win and exciting football in that Champions League game. But the Premier League game against Manchester United, the opening 45 minutes, no shots on target. And there were a lot of groans at half time because the lack of creativity. Gary, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but for me, I think that you used to go to most games, but you haven't really gone a lot this season. Why?
No.
Why is that? Why is that?
I think it's just because, I tended to go to more home games rather than the away games for obvious reasons, easy to get ticket stuff. But for me, I wouldn't say so much the football that we play, because it wouldn't matter to me. Like, Craig touched on it saying, a lot of the boos is because of the style of playing that. But I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, because I'll take Man United, for example, right? I didn't go to that game, but touching on what Craig said earlier, the reason I didn't go to that game is it was a couple of hours before kickoff. I mentioned it to you guys, looked at a couple of tickets for me and my boy, and they wanted 200 quid. Now, £200 when we're not playing good at home, we've lost, majority of the games. I think it's a bit steep, especially a couple of hours ago. Anyway, so I watched it on TV, awful in that game, right up until the 85th minute, we go 2-1 up. Now, if we hold on for 30 more seconds and we win that game 2-1, are there any boos? No. Right?
It's a very different. It's a very different feeling, then, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm jumping up and down in the house. I'm hugging my boy. We're over the moon. We've got to hold on 30 seconds, and we've won a game that we don't deserve to win. Right? Okay, admittedly. But if you're getting results, regardless of how you're playing, then the stadium is going to be more full. I know a lot of people are saying, because, Son's not there, so a lot of South Korean fans, yeah, that plays a part. Yes, the tickets are expensive, but the tickets have always been expensive at Tottenham, right? If we hold on to that game against Man United and we win it, full time, the music comes on, the fans that are there are singing, everyone goes happy. It's a result business, Chris, And really, it was 30 seconds. We should have held on. Now, you can blame no one, marked him at the back post, but you could also say Bakari shouldn't be standing behind the line. Ultimately, that's the game we should have won that we didn't deserve to win, right? So for me, I do feel, the reason why I've not been going is more so of the results. Now, because I look at it and I think to myself, do you know what? The majority of the time when we're playing at home, I would think we stand a very good chance of winning games. I've been to a couple of home games this season. One we lost and the other one we equalised in the last second against Wolves, I think it was. Play terrible in both, right? So for me, if I'm going to be handing over, now obviously season ticket holders like yourself, Chris, and a lot of the other guys don't have that option, but if I'm going to be handing over a few £100 every time, do you know what, Chris? I'd rather take my chances, watch it on the TV and go and work and earn the money, because I don't feel at the moment, really, they're getting enough results for me to want to sort of gamble a few £100 every game. And that's where I am. But let's go back to the Man United game, and let's say that was a winner against Wolves in the last second. There'd be less boos, there'd be more happier fans, and we'd probably be sitting third. So it's just a result business. I think if you're winning games, but you're not playing great, I think the majority of fans will still stick with the team and stick with Thomas Frank. But the problem that you have at the moment is, like Craig said, we're playing very, very boring football. I mean, it's very boring, but also we're not winning games at home. So that's the reason, Chris, for me. I probably by now would have been 6 or 7 games, maybe more. I've only done 2. And do I regret not going to any of them? No, I don't actually. I think, you know what? I've kind of dodged one there. So that's sort of where I am. Yeah.
When was the last Premier League game that Spurs played where you were really entertained?
I would probably say City away. We played really well there this season. City away, good game, and could have won by more. I thought we were front foot, attacking football. And, people say, "Oh, it's only City," but ultimately City are probably going to win the league. And if you go back last season, I remember we lost at home to Ipswich, and then what was that season before where we lost and went up and done 4-0? So last season or the season before?
Last
season, I remember in the stadium with you at the awards. We just lost at home to Ipswich, which was awful, and then went up to City and beat them 4-0. I think probably City away with the 2-0 win this season. I mean, I don't think there's been any games after. I mean, you could say the Copenhagen game was a good, entertaining game, but I don't think it has as much merit over it as what Man City away does. So,
Gary, Craig doesn't seem convinced that when we get our creative players back that it's going to be any more entertaining or any more different. Do you agree with that statement?
I do. I think he's spot on the money there. I don't think it's going to be that much more exciting. I don't think there's going to be a lot more creativity. We've had them players in that team at times, and we've still looked terrible. I think for Spurs, and I don't quite know what the reason is or what the answer is, and maybe you guys might know, but we are playing a lot more entertaining, convincing football away from home than at home. I don't really know what that is. It's not necessarily setting up different, but it seems really odd to me because, you know, you would probably kind of put your bets on 65% a better result at home than away. But, I mean, it's all out the window this season. But for me, Maddison, Kulizeski, even when Solanke comes back to that, I don't think the style of play and the way that we're set up will be any different. Do I think we will win more games? Yes, I do. So this is very important here. We'll get more wins and get better results, but the football won't be any more entertaining. That's what I think.
Can I just ask Kenny Kennett a question?
Yeah.
Hey, Ken, are we boring to watch? I'll keep it simple. Are Spurs boring to watch?
You're pragmatic, but I still think the reason why you play like that is because of the personnel. You haven't got another reason. If you don't get me wrong, you guys know your club inside out better than I'll ever know it. But from an outside looking in, do you know how many goals you've lost since Kane and Song have left your club?
Yeah,
have you noticed that not only were Kane and Song, you know, diehard goal scorers, they also were create chances. They had assists as well. Kane dropping deep, creating spaces for you, like your inverted wingers, and creating chances for the midfield to run onto the ball, which he did a lot under the Poch. Then you got Song as well. He can drift out to the left. He can drift out to the right. He's 2-footed. That's a lot of quality. Yeah. You know, a lot of Spurs fans were criticising Song and saying he's past his best, but right now you're probably killed for him because you just haven't got those goals. Kudos is a fantastic player, but he doesn't score goals.
He is brilliant.
He was a goal scorer, at West Ham. Simons is just finding his feet. He's finding English football is a physical entity, which he needs to kind of work his way in. You know, Tell's inconsistent. You know, obviously Odegaard hits and miss. Bergvall, good player, but tactically he gets it, and you're playing. He's in tune what the manager wants, but does he get your goals? Is he creative? I'm not sure, and that's the situation. Injuries have taken its toll, but the personnel, losing Kane and Song, all those goals for me, that is massive, and it's very hard to replicate. You need more from Richarlison. Don't get you wrong, with Richarlison, he gives you work rate. He will work his nuts off. He'll make the defenders defend. He'll back into defenders. He'll run those channels. But that's about it. His goal return since he's joined you from Everton, it's bad. Very bad.
Yeah, we need a goal scorer. There's no doubt about it. It's interesting though, Kenny, because like Craig and Gary have said there, and both of them have used the word boring. And funny enough, the Chelsea game, the Manchester United game, that is all I heard. Being a season ticket holder, I talked to a lot of people, especially on match day, before the game, half time, after the match. And that is all the word that I kept hearing, throughout those two games, boring, 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 all the time. And it's funny because after the Manchester United game, that was early kickoff, I actually went on Sky Sports and spoke about the game. And I actually said on Sky, the word I've been hearing all day, the Spurs fans from the stadium have said that we were boring. I tell you what, they put that clip on X and I got absolutely hammered from our fan base saying that I was negative. I've never been called a negative Spurs fan before. But that's how the majority of people in that stadium felt. I don't know whether people feel differently when they don't go to games.
Chris, let me tell you something now. And we have the same thing with Arsenal, our social media. I'll tell you now, and these are just facts. If you want an accurate barometer of fan feeling and fan opinion, go to the ground. That's where the real
X is ridiculous.
And I'm not digging out fans who don't go to games because I know there's financial situations. You may live abroad, you're an expat. I get it, but a lot of people, especially Sky Sports, and your Talk Sport, Radio 5, all the other channels, they generally believe that social media is basically the mouthpiece of the fans, when half the fans who go Arsenal, Tottenham, they wouldn't even know what X is. They wouldn't know they probably don't even know what a computer is, because how they view the games is that they go to the game, they go to the pub and discuss it with their mates. If you really want an accurate barometer of feeling that, at the Emirates or the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, go to the pub. So when you say
you said that, but you mark my words, Chris, if that game had ended 2-1 to Tottenham, you wouldn't have got anywhere near as much abuse on X.
You're right, Chris.
No, and let's fast forward. If we play boring, defensive, out of your mind crap football on Sunday, but nick a 1 or 2-0 win, Spurs fans will be happy. I'll be happy.
Yeah, but is that true though? Yeah, but the thing about it is that there is a bit of a point, because obviously growing up in North London, when we had Terry Neal and Don Howe at the club, there were times when we had a bet, we had a good head-to-head record against you, but every Spurs fan says at least we play good football, because you guys, whether West Ham talk about academy, but Spurs have always been a push and run, going back to 51. The push and run team, the 51 league, the one in the league championship. Then you've got the double winning team under Bill Nicholson. He played in 51 with Alf Ramsey, Ted Ditchburn, and then in 61 he built that side. You've been brought up to play attractive football. So I get where a lot of your fans are going, but unfortunately, you were playing attractive football. Then since Jerry Francis, your football's been pragmatic.
The thing is, though, Kenny, like that Chelsea game, what frustrated me the most is the fact that, our motto is to dare is to do. Now, we're not daring, and we're certainly not doing. In that game, we had one shot on target in the entire game. And to come out, and a journalist, George Sessions from the Press Association, actually asked Thomas Frank this question and point, and said, how can that happen? You come out in the second half and your team isn't going for it, and the team isn't having a shot on target. That's what I have a problem with, because when you don't see the team going for it and trying to score a goal, that's what I have a problem with. And and the last few performances in the Premier League, you can call it pragmatic, you can call it defensive football, and I'll say again that Thomas Frank hated those terms in the press conferences recently when he was called out by the journalist and said, the fans think that it's pragmatic and defensive, and he didn't like that. He said, my teams have scored a lot of goals. All I'm doing is living in hope that the fact that when we do get these creative players back, and you're absolutely right, when you lose Son and Kane, and I said this in the same interview, when you lose those types of players and then you replace them for the players that we've got right now, it is chalk and cheese. And of course, we've lost those creators as well, that, in terms of Maddison and Kulusevski, you're talking about a lot of chances. Let me read you some of the stats out here, comparing Arsenal and Tottenham's season so far after 11 games, because Arsenal have scored 20 goals. And even though Spurs are lacking that creativity, interestingly, we've scored one less. We've scored 19. Average goals per match, Arsenal 2, Spurs 2. Average goals conceded per match, Arsenal 0, Tottenham 1. XG, Arsenal 19.33 to Tottenham's 11.09. XG per 90, Arsenal 1.76 to Tottenham's 1.10, and clean sheets, Arsenal 7, Tottenham 4. Kenny, I know we've gone off on a little bit of a tangent here, and a little bit off topic, but talk to me about Tottenham's season. What have you made of Tottenham's season? What have you made of the style? And do you think Thomas Frank will be a success at Spurs? Because it's interestingly, he's been in charge of Spurs for 6 home games in the Premier League. There's been boos in 4 of those matches. Do you think the Spurs fan base are going to be patient with him?
No, not at all. Because simple reason is that you got a brand of football that you've been brought up on. You are basically Bill Nicholson's love child. You have to play attractive football. Now, the thing that's so bizarre about that is that you have the only manager since Bill Nicholson to play there's only a few managers that you've had since Bill Nicholson to play attractive football. Keane Birkinshaw, he played great football. David Pleat, that one season, 87, when you had the 5 midfielders and then Clive Allen up front, you play attractive football. Terry Venables, you didn't exactly play great football, but there was one season, 92, 93, where you had Barnby, Sheringham, Magnuson, you played some good football. But since Sherry Francis, you haven't played great football. So I do understand the traditions of Spurs, but actually you haven't really had great football. Obviously under Poch you did, but
Redknapp as well. Redknapp, there was some good football there.
Redknapp had some good players. He's very good at wheeling and dealer. But Conte, you got into the top 4 at our expense, but your fans weren't happy about the football. Mourinho, you guys weren't happy about the football. So I do think that even if you do get in the top 4, even if you do, win the FA Cup, I don't think your fans will be enamoured by that because it's who you are. Obviously, you hate me talking about West Ham because I know you guys see him as I don't want to use that word because I'm a Christian, but I'm sure you've got some words for them. But you and West Ham are so similar. You talk about style of play, where West Ham talk about the West Ham way, the academy way, and you guys talk about the push and run. So any manager that does not play attractive football.
Hold on, that's a bit of an insult, isn't it? Us and West Ham are similar.
No, I'm not comparing you, but if you look at, obviously you guys must know some West Ham fans. You've probably got West Ham fans in your family where they always talk about the West Ham play.
He's comparing us with Chris.
No, I'm not comparing West Ham. You talk about the academy at Spurs. I've got family at Tottenham. Right, my cousin, he's a Tottenham season ticket holder. Goes to all the games. All he talks about when we were kids is how Spurs play attractive football, and he'll name the 1960 team. He'd name Jimmy Greaves. He would name, all the flair players. He'd talk about Hodu Ardiles. You guys are brought up on that. So any manager, your knowledge of Tottenham is pretty good. Do you have this good a knowledge of any other teams? Because I think you've got a real you've got a soft spot for Spurs. I'm telling you. No. Let me tell you something now. A psychologist will tell you, know your enemy as well as your best mate. You guys are my enemy. I'm from North London. I've got Spurs family. I've got neighbours, traitors who supported Spurs, who basically what will happen? I'll go in their house and my heart will sing. I'll see a Spurs clock. I'll go, oh no, and then we'll watch some videos, and then that's how I learned about your history because I was. I've family members who would just show me Spurs videos, and then I used to. I'm so big on the North London derby.
Chris, put that one up in the comments.
Both sides. but let me tell you something now. Let's just say, you know how much I hate Tottenham. It's not red hot.
No, we don't. We don't believe you. We think you like us.
He's always
I know about you. But look, you know what? You know what my philosophy is about football. First and foremost, before you support a football team, you should love the game, and then you get indoctrinated. It's not the other way around. You have to love football first. So if you love football, you need to know about other players and other teams, and then either someone will remind you, say, "Yeah, by the way, you've got to support Arsenal," or you choose your own destiny. And I think I don't like football fans who come to me and goes, I only watch Arsenal. I don't watch anything else. I only watch England. I think, get out of here.
Yeah,
you're not a proper football fan. You need to watch all football and know about your enemy. And you're my enemy. Spurs is my enemy. And plus, I've got, believe it or not, I've got so many Spurs in my family. Plus, I've got friends. If you went on Andover Estate in Finsbury Park, 90% of it is Arsenal when it should be 100. There's about 8% of Tottenham. And the worst thing about it, I didn't know there were Spurs fans until you got the Champions League final. There's one guy, his nickname's Spindle. His name's Danny. I didn't know Spindle and his sister were Tottenham until you got the Champions League final. Do you believe it?
Yeah.
He's like secret army of you guys.
Right. Well, everyone knows I'm Spurs. There's no hiding it.
No. Right, we've got some very thought-provoking questions here. I want to ask you, first of all, we'll go around very quickly. Craig, let's start with you. If you could pick one player from the opponents to come and play in our team, who would it be? And why?
Oh, that's interesting. Sorry, I just got to do this because if you ever clip it, Kenny's got a nice little Tottenham crest over his left shoulder there. So it just looks like I might leave you like that.
Lovely. That's
We've got to leave it. So
Get off.
I
That's on your wall in the background, isn't it?
Ken, I can't move it. Mate, I can't move it. I'm really sorry.
Hold on. This is the thing. Wait.
My mouse is working. Sorry. That's brilliant.
What a great idea.
So if he says anything now, we just clip it that Kenny Ken's a Tottenham fan.
Mate.
He gone?
Spurs all the way.
He's going to put it.
What's he doing? Oh, here we go. No.
Can't see it. Can't. Oh, yeah. Oh. Is that a mirror?
Yeah, just about. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So who would I have? I'm going to leave him up there, Chris. I like this.
Leave him up there. Yeah.
Leave it up there, mate.
Yeah. Right. Who would I have? I'm really reluctant to say Eberechi Eze because you know how much I wanted him at Tottenham. No, do you know what? I'm going to say Eberechi Eze because I think he's a fantastic player. So I would have took him. I'm gutted he didn't come to Tottenham. Gutted he went to Arsenal, but he's an Arsenal fan, so I'd still have Eze. It'd be easy. It'd be too easy to say Saka. So I'm going to say Eze.
What about you, Gary?
Just one player for me. That'd be Rice. Always wanted him to come to Spurs, and by far for me, I like everything about Rice. I wouldn't take Saka if you gave him to me. Don't think Eze's done that great. Not a massive fan of Gabriel. For me, Rice all day long. I think he commands the midfield. I mean, yeah, okay, they didn't win nothing for it, but then free kicks against Real Madrid, I think is the way he reads the game. I would love him at Tottenham. And I was a million times more gutted that we didn't get Rice than Eze. Not bothered about Eze. He's not going to do any great things at Arsenal. But Rice, I think, will do. And has to a certain extent already. So for me, Rice, 1,000,000%.
They're two great shouts, actually. I'm going to go with David Raya, actually, and I do kind of agree with Craig because I think probably two Tottenham fans that banged on about Eze the most during the transfer window is probably me and Craig, desperately wanting this deal to happen, and we thought it was going to happen. Done so many shows about it, looking all excited that it was going to happen, and then of course it didn't, and then he went down there. So yeah, Kenny, who would you choose?
What, from Spurs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, right, there's no Son and Kane, but I do like Kudos because Kudos is a player that I coveted because we got Madueke. He's done really well, but he hasn't scored a goal. But Kudos, that if we had Kudos in the squad, it was a case where he could basically, because when he was at West Ham, he played on the left hand side. Him and Saka in the team, it'd be like chaos. So he's a player I like. I have to admit, I ain't gonna lie. Van der Ven's pace for a big lad, that does impress me, and him with set pieces.
It's unreal how fast he is, man.
I do like Van. I do, like I said, look at Van der Ven. I went, I hope he's not playing on on Sunday. But in terms of like the rest of your players, I have to admit, there's a couple of players that if they play for Arsenal, I'll be pulling my hair out. They'll frustrate me. They'll make me angry.
Richarlison, one of them.
Richarlison makes me angry.
Yeah, I think he makes everyone angry.
Another one who. But there's one player at your club, and you guys got to explain it to me because I don't know what the hell's going on. Every time I see Brennan Johnson play, he always seems to get a goal or assist, but your fans hate him. Can someone just explain to me what the Brennan Johnson enigma that is I don't know if he's hated, but I just think all I hear is
some fans are frustrated with him.
But he scores the winner in the Europa Europa League final competition. You guys always go on about. He scored about. He always seems to get double figures a season. Yet you fans hate him. I don't get it.
I think a lot of people just want to see Brennan Johnson do a lot more in a game, Kenny. Yes, he does get the goals, but the amount of podcasts we've recorded and the amount of responses that we've had from the guests that they just want to see him take on a player. They want to see him do a lot more in a match rather than just be... at the end, at the back post, because that is a skill in itself, being at the back post.
Yeah.
And used to say that about him, and I agree. But I think there's a lot more to come from Brennan Johnson, and this is another thing. Thomas Frank at Brentford, we saw that he got the very best out of players, particularly in the final third. So I'm very interested to see what he can do with a player like Brennan Johnson to really step up his game. But I agree with you to a certain extent, Kenny. I think that he is a player that has had a lot of criticism, but a lot of Spurs players have had a lot of criticism.
Yeah.
He seems to get in it the worst, because there's some Spurs players like Basuma. You know, sometimes when I watch him play, he makes me want to pull my hair out. And then, anyway, can I add another third player? Because I just want to apologise for that. I love watching Paulinho play, because the reason why I like Paulinho, for the first time in a couple of seasons, you actually look organised in midfield. He's one of the reasons.
Not only are you sitting there with a Spurs logo next year, you're saying you love our players.
No. The reason why, you know why I like Paulinho.
Coys.
From a footballing point of view, when I was watching you guys play last season, all I saw was chaos. You know, Sarr and Basuma, just chaos. But with Paulinho, what he does as well, not only does he protect your defence, but he actually kind of is running power. Like I said, I'll tell you one thing that's going to be a great battle on Sunday, him against Declan Rice. I'm looking forward to that. From a tactical point of view, Declan Rice is our most energetic midfielder.
Yeah, he's good.
But he's not actually the Brandon side. That's Mendy. Paulinho is one of your most energetic midfielders, and he actually makes you a better unit. And he gives you organisation. There was chaos last season, but Paulinho, there's times when I thought, bloody hell, we could have got him as well.
What I'm going to do now, Kenny, is after this podcast, we're going to clip it up. I'm going to, as though I've asked you the question, who's better, Declan Rice? Declan Rice or João Paulinho? And your reply is, I love João Paulinho.
No shots. You know something. If you were to do that, I'll be able to show my face, but I'm going to have to go to Ian Dowson and Jimmy Archway and do like lift as much as Gary. That way, when I come to the games, no one's going to touch me, because that's what I'm going to have to do if you keep on doing that.
Right, Gary, I'm going to come to you next with this question. How do you usually prepare for Derby Day? Any rituals or superstitions?
I wouldn't say I have any rituals or superstitions. I decide on the day if I'm going or if I'm going to watch it. And if I do watch it on the TV, I tend to not watch the whole game. I'll be kind of in and out of watching it, going outside the front, in the back garden. I could spend a bit of time down the gym, or I could literally, like I said earlier on the show, leave my phone at home, drive a few miles away, and just go for a run. I did that when we beat them at home. I think it was Toby Alderweireld got the header. I didn't watch any of that game. I waited. I came in. I kept the radio off of the car. Everything, got in. And then my wife and my boy went, made out that we'd lost and obviously realised we'd won, celebrated. This one on Sunday, like I said earlier on the show, I'm not feeling as worried and as nervous. I'm quite confident. So I think I'm going to probably be at home, unless I get a last-minute ticket like I did last season. If I get a last-minute ticket, I'll go there and I'll be feeling pretty confident. So I wouldn't say I have any rituals. I heard a lot of stuff on the radio this week, and I've spoken to people about really mad things. One guy was saying if he's got like M&Ms, he can only do certain colours, and if it comes out this, he puts one back, and certain socks and a t-shirt. I don't even necessarily have a particular or certain t-shirt that I will wear for North London Derby. I'll just wear whatever one I feel, but I will have obviously a Tottenham shirt on. So there will be little things like that. But for me, it will just be on the day, Chris. It will either be watching bits and pieces on the TV, or I'll be at the game, and I think that will be me on Sunday. But I am pretty confident, I must admit.
Craig, what's the biggest myth or misconception fans of other clubs have about your team, Tottenham Hotspur?
That we're an entertaining side to watch, I think, because we're not at the moment. It's as simple as that. I think probably the other thing is certainly friends of mine that are generally West Ham fans, so this bite's coming from them, would say that we think we're a bigger side than we actually are. And I think that's probably true for a lot of us. We think we're better than we actually are, and that we should be challenging. Well, we all want to be challenging for the Premier League, but we're miles away from it. So perhaps we aren't as big and as good as we think we are. We'll hopefully get there and get back there, because we were so close during the Poch era, but we've dropped off quite a fair bit if you're talking about winning the Premier League. So perhaps Spurs fans thinking that we're actually bigger than we are.
Kenny, I'm going to ask you this question because you're the oldest here and you've been to more North London derbies than any of us. So which stadium has hosted the better derby atmosphere? Highbury, White Hart Lane, Emirates, or the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium?
See, that's the thing. That's a good question, because part of going to North London derbies, us Arsenal fans, the match-going Arsenal fans, what we want more, just as much as beating Spurs, is actually winning your ground. The simple reason is that it's beating you at your ground is so hard. But I know this is like a family show, but the one thing I like about a derby, I like the chaos of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, Highbury, I have to say, the atmosphere when we played you guys was absolutely off the scale. It was off the scale.
It was good at Highbury, man.
Especially in the 80s, like when you guys used to have the whole North Bank. The whole clock end. We loved that because it had that kind of, North London Cup final feel. So we loved that. So I'll have to say, Highbury in the 80s, that's a great atmosphere. But however, there was one game when we played you in 2016 where it was 2-2. And I have to say, when we had a player sent off, we had Cowlin sent off. Harry Kane scored that, a worldie, but Ramsey scored a worldie as well when Sanchez to 2-2. For me, that was a great atmosphere as well, because it was the anticipation. Both sides were challenging Leicester for the league. I use that term loosely, but that's exactly what it was. And it was a case where, for atmosphere, that was really up there, because it was like the anticipation, getting there early, 12:30 kickoff, coming out the ground, your fans growling, our fans, just having their coats overhead. I love all that. Obviously, it's not nice for kids to be part of that atmosphere, but when you're like me, born in North London, Spurs are your rivals, I love it. But I have to say, Highbury had the best atmosphere for North London derbies. The Emirates, I'll say the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, they're more kind of tourist stadiums, because at the end of the day, tourists pay the bills. Executives pay the bills. People like me and you, Chris, and you guys, we don't pay the bills. We're a sure thing. We're going to get there. We're not going to buy the drinks, as we can get it cheaper outside the ground. So we're not going to make the club any money. We're just going to pay for our tickets, get there. But North London, Derby Day, North London in the 80s against Spurs. Yeah, I loved it. Loved it.
Do you know, I don't think I've ever heard such a bigger roar and a cheer when Harry Kane scored that goal against Arsenal at White Hart Lane, and then he took his goggles off and then celebrated in front of the East Stand. That was an incredible moment at White Hart Lane that I particularly remember.
You guys came back down to earth, because straight from the kickoff, Alexis Sanchez made it 2-2, and both Arsenal's top.
It's my turn to talk.
Yeah, but I just thinking, just more angry. I think I'm due an interruption.
I think you are. Yeah.
Don't stick up for him, Gary.
No, he's thinking though on this one.
Do you know what, Kenny? Do you know what? At the start of the stream, we spoke about the atmosphere being great at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in those boxing matches, or those boxing fights. But the best atmosphere for me at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium so far, since we moved in there in 2019, is when we beat Arsenal 3-0 under Conte. That was absolutely electric. And I tell you what, I always refer back to that. If Spurs could get even half that noise in an average or a week-to-week Premier League game, we would be getting some results.
South Stand for that, Chris. And
incredible,
absolutely bonkers. It was mental.
Yeah.
I
Amazing.
was in the away end. I'll tell you one thing. I probably was the only Arsenal fan left because there was about 8 of us who went. 6 of them were in the toilet when Son scored. As soon as they had the chair, and I told them that Son scored, they just went home. They went home. They just left the stadium. So I was virtually left. But in terms of like the atmosphere, I have to admit, Spurs, the players were really up for it in a crowd.
They were that day.
Intimidating as an away fan because I thought when I went there, I swear to God, I thought I was going to go deaf. I thought I lost my hearing because the noise, the crescendo. I won't lie.
It's not been like that.
You always go in that game.
No.
Yeah. Right. I'm going to give you guys one more question, and then we're going to go to a predicted lineup and a score prediction. So, Gary, let's come to you. Who is the biggest villain from the opposing club in Derby history? Who's the one or two players, or actually, give me a whole host of players who have been villains who you haven't particularly liked on the opposition side?
Oh God! I mean, you'd have to probably go Henry. I suppose you would definitely go with him. Paul Merson. Even now, even after ending as a footballer, whenever he's on social media with the stuff he comes out with and stuff like that. Who else? Tony Adams a bit. I guess you'd throw him in there. He used to stir it up, wind it up. Oh God, there's a few. I'm just thinking of the players that have wound me up. Do you know one player? Obviously retired now. Hated him. I absolutely hated him as a player. Couldn't stand him. Despised him. Was Ian Wright. But now, as a pundit and stuff, I think he's great. And he doesn't live far from where I grew up. He's around Kensal Rise way, but I really, really hated him. I probably did hate Tony Adams as well when I was younger because he started dating Caprice, and I thought, how is someone, one, who's so ugly, and two, plays for Arsenal, and Caprice? So, all these things wound me up with Arsenal. I don't know what I was more annoyed about, but listen, Paul Merson now, I quite like him. I think he's good entertainment. He's funny. Normally gets his predictions completely wrong. And Ian Wright, I think, is absolutely great. I think he's amazing. But let me tell you, I hated him as a kid. Them North London derbies when we were growing up and stuff, I couldn't stand him on the pitch because he really used to roll up the players and stuff and wind them up, So, I'd probably stop at that. I'll tell you one player who's always been a gentleman, even when he played and when he retired, and I've never really heard him say a bad word, is David Seaman. I think he's such a gentleman, like throughout his career, and now he's retired and everything else. I think he's the one player I would say, do you know what? If you're going to talk about the place that you hate, there's a list of them. But one I could say I couldn't have a bad word said about him would probably be David Seaman, yeah.
Well, while you've been talking, I think Craig's written about 30 names down. King Hoddle writes here, Keown, Wilshere, Merson, Ramsey. And I love that King Hoddle has written etc., meaning there are a whole lot more.
I forgot about Wilshere. Because he still annoys me now when he gets on there, isn't it? He's always got something to say about Tottenham, isn't he?
Yeah. Craig, very quickly.
I got 3.
All right, we'll come to you in a second, Kenny.
All right.
It was always Robert Pires for me. Couldn't stand him. His face, his face used to just wind me up. I hated him. Absolutely hated him. And Lundberg as well. His face, just hated him. Honestly, I just could not stand him. And the one person as well at Arsenal, this is going back a bit, Steve Bold. I don't know why. Just didn't like him. Didn't like him at all. There is a few more I could rattle off. I always liked Vieira, I have to say that, because I just love watching him play the game. He played
he said love.
What's wrong with you lot?
Yeah, hang on. Look, we'll just look at Kenny. Look at him looking at the little sign. Oh, bless him. Lovely. And that'll be clipped. Anyway, so it would have to be those 3 for me that I detest. Yeah.
Yeah, someone's just written Theo Walcott, and I agree with that one because we lost a FA Cup tie 2-0, and he was on the stretcher, and the Spurs fans were digging him out, and he sort of got up and just done that to the Spurs fans, and that really wound a lot of fans up that day. Kenny, go on, give it to us.
Teddy Sheringham, I absolutely despised the guy.
Oh, Teddy!
I absolutely hated him. You know, it was his perfect hair. He had no pace, but he always raised his game against Arsenal. Even when he played for Man United, I hated him. You know, the biggest pleasure in my life is that he went to Man United his first season and they won nothing. And the Teddy Sheringham song was a classic. You should have basically bottled it up, and that should have been number one on Top of the Pops, the Teddy Sheringham song. It was that popular. And even you fans sang it until you got him back. Another two players I hated, Graham Roberts. The guy was an assassin. Dirtiest player ever. Dirty player. You know, I'll tell you one thing. I still have nightmares about his tackles on our players. And then Mickey Hazard and Graham Roberts are pretty connected.
Yeah, they are very much.
Mickey Hazard was on TV and he was taking a Mickey. He was after Spurs won the North London derby at Emirates. Mickey Hazard was in a taxi going on about it, and I got my eczema came up because I was so stressed about that result. Seeing Mickey Hazard, I swear to God, I could have killed him. And then a few years later, Mickey Hazard started having another pop at Arsenal. So I sent him a little tweet, and I said, Mickey, how you doing? No, she said, Michael. I didn't call him Mickey, I called him Michael. Michael, how you, mate? He didn't answer. I said, how does it feel to be, like I said, a poor man's Glenn Hoddle? Blocked me.
Oh.
Now, Graham Roberts, who I had a banter with, because his mate Mickey Hazard blocked me. Graham Roberts blocked me as well. And I thought, Graham, I thought you were all right.
So you're blocked by the two of them now, are you?
I'm blocked by Graham Roberts and Mickey Hazard because all I said to Mickey
Hazard
is I called him a poor man's Glenn Hoddle. Now, that's not I thought that was a compliment. Don't you think that's a compliment? No? Obviously, all right.
Well, I think compliment's pushing it a little bit, Ken, but I can see what you're saying.
Even so, Teddy Sheringham, there was one North London derby, you won 2-1. Him and Sol, remember that time when he died? He scored that penalty when Poyet dived at Highbury in 2002. And then when he scored that penalty, I was in the clock end, he came to us, clenched his fist, and I thought, yeah, that's why I hate you. But Teddy Sheringham, Graham Roberts, Mickey Hazard, hate you forever.
Can I just add a couple? I've just thought of another few that I don't
go for it, Craig. Go on.
Sol Campbell.
I wasn't going to mention him because he was at Tottenham before, you see. So that's why I left him out.
Granit Xhaka, for me, I'd hated him when he was at Arsenal. And Emmanuel Adebayor, actually. Even though he played for Spurs, I never particularly wanted to.
Yeah, Sol Campbell was my first thought, but because he started at Spurs, I thought, well, I'll leave him out of it.
You guys ain't allowed to mention that name on this show.
Yeah. To mention
That's true, actually. Yeah. We won't mention him again.
He won't block us like they've blocked you, though, Ken.
That's hilarious. I'm going to ask him about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does he watch the show?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm going to ask him.
But the only person I want to be unblocked by is Graham Roberts because I think he's a funny old son. And he went to Chelsea, so that's a bit of treachery, isn't it?
Yeah.
Perhaps I'll get him to do a video message for you.
I don't know. It depends what he says.
Yeah, we'll play it on the next stream you're on.
Well, yeah, but all I can say is that I thought it was a compliment calling him a poor man's Glenn Hoddle. I think that's a compliment.
Yeah, Glenn Hoddle, what a player. Right, lastly, Gary, let's start with you. What team would you like Thomas Frank to put out on Sunday afternoon? And your score prediction? 3
at the back. Go a bit more front foot. I think we are going to sit back and get them on the counter. I hope and pray Kudos is fit. Bring him in. What else? Odegaard probably as well. Pelini in there. And I just don't want to see Richarlison anywhere near the team. I definitely don't want him starting. I don't want him even coming on from the bench. I'm I'm just done with him. I think that's about it. I think that's where I am. I just want to see when the game kicks off, that first 5 minutes, I just want to look at the team, whoever he decides to put out and whatever, way he wants to set us up, just be up for the game, man. This is one of the 2 games this season that really matter. Chris and Craig, and I know a lot of the guys, it's the Chelsea game just as much for you, but for me, we've already lost to Chelsea before the game kicks off. This game on Sunday, we have a very good chance of winning. So let's go out there. Whatever formation he decides to set up, if Kudus is fit, great. If he's not, I don't want that to be an excuse for us to not really go for it, because they are beatable and we can beat them at theirs, Yes, our record isn't great, but this season we've got the best away record. Admittedly, they got the best home record, but stats and everything else will go out the window and it will be just on the day and who wants it more. And I think if we start front foot, aggressive, Romero gets stuck in and we're really up for it, and Van der Ven controls it, I don't particularly want to see Porro or Richarlison in that team, if I'm being honest. I don't want to single out players, but that's just my feeling on it. And then I think, you know what? Even worst case scenario, Chris, if we was to lose the game, at least if we had a go and had a good fight. Last season we went down there, we went 1-0 up. Admittedly, we lost it 2-1, but I didn't come away from there massively disappointed because we had a bit of a go, and that's what I want to see when we go there on Sunday. And I think overall, our away form and the way that we've kind of played hasn't been that bad. It's been all right. So I'm positive. So for me, first 5-10 minutes will be critical, and we'll see how we go.
So, Gary, what's the score prediction and who's going to get the goals? And let me just add as well, I feel like as Spurs fans, we learn a lot about the players, particularly the new signings in games like this, because, these players know how important this game is to the fans. Yeah,
I agree. I think it's going to be 2-0 Spurs. I think we're going to keep a clean sheet. I think Van der Ven is going to put us ahead in the first half. And I think Arsenal are going to press for an equaliser, and we're going to nick a second with Johnson, and we're going to win 2-0. And then it's going to be all over Sky, and I'm going to be watching the replays, match of the day be on record, and I'll be messaging Kenny Ken on Instagram.
Craig, do you agree with Gary?
Sadly not. I've probably got a starting 11 I'd like to see, and a starting 11 I think Frank will go with. The one I'd like to see is Vicario, Porro, Van der Ven, Udogie, and Romero across the back line. I've got them out of order. Then I'd like to see Paulinia, Bergvall, Javi, and Odegaard, Tell, and Kudus. I think, however, he'll go with back 3. It'll be Vicario in goal, Danzo, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogie, and Porro wing backs essentially. Ooh. Then I think Bentancur, Paulinia in the middle, and Javi in behind Kudus and Richarlison. I think a draw would be a phenomenal result. I think a 1-1 draw would be a great result, but I if I'm being brutally honest, I think we're going to lose. I'm really sorry, but I think we're going to lose something like 2-1.
I think that is the first time I've ever heard you say that about when I've asked you for a score prediction. I don't think I've ever heard you say that you think we're going to lose.
Possible. Yeah.
I don't think he has. No, I have. I've definitely.
I'm just trying to be real. I just look. Of course, I want us to win, and as I say, I think a draw would be a really good result. But something's got to give, right? Unless there is a draw. Arsenal with brilliant home form, we've got brilliant away form. Something's got to give. So probably everything's pointing towards a draw, but just with the players we got out and the injuries, yes, they got Gabriel out. I just, I'm not going to just sit here and, because it's a North London derby, I'm going to say we've got to win or whatever. I just think we're going to lose this game, sadly. I hope I'm wrong.
Kenny, what's your predicted 11 for Arsenal, and what's your score prediction?
Well, predicted 11 is Gabriel's. Obviously, he's out. He's out for probably 6 to 8 weeks. So I think Hincapié is going to come in his place. We're going to play Calafiori. We're going to play Timber, and obviously Saliba and Hincapié, and then Eze play as number 10, and it'll be Declan Rice and Zubimendi, and then it'll be Trossard, Saka, and up top's going to be Mikel Merino. And one of the things we need to do is we need to play at a very high tempo. Declan Rice has to play well, and Zubimendi. If you guys to get anything at a game, I will suggest that you get in our faces and try and turn us around against the defence. If you're passive, you're asked for trouble, because one thing about us is that we'll keep on going and going and going and keep on knocking at the door, and it might creak, and that's where I think we can win it. I'm going for. The thing is, Spurs have got a very, very good away record, and I do respect that. But the thing is that one thing you guys said, you'll learn a lot more about your players in this game, because there's times when Spurs have come to the Emirates in really good form since the Poch, and it hasn't worked out. 22-23, you were in relatively good form. We beat you, and then it was just like your season just didn't quite implode, but it was a sign of things to come. So I do think that it'd be 1-0, and it'll be the odd goal. It could be a Saka penalty. Oliver might do us a favour. Who knows? But I do think it's gonna. Sadly, I think it's going to be a really boring game of football, because both teams are very pragmatic. We're a functional.
Another one.
But no. I'll be honest here. The way Spurs play, you're not going to go out and come at us. You're going to play in a break. But the team that Frank's going to play is going to be a team that must not lose, because I think psychologically he's worried about the effect of the PSG game and in other games where it might implode the season. Because I think with all now the Levy's gone, I do think that Tottenham with the stadium you've got, you have to be in the top 4 every season. I generally believe that. Whether you're good enough is immaterial. It's you can't call yourself like a big club or bristle when teams say you're a small club if you're not, getting a top 4 at least. You've got to be doing it every season. And this game is going to be a kind of a litmus test and a barometer of whether you're good enough to get in that top 4, because you've got to go to Highbury, you've got to go to Anfield, you've got to go to Old Trafford, you've got to go to them and not lose, but actually try and win.
Yeah.
Kenny, can I ask you very quickly before we go about Victor Enquiries? Have you been impressed with him?
No, because and it's not a dig at him. I didn't expect anything different, because simple reason with Victor Enquiries, he's not elite. He's not a Mbappe. He's not a Haaland. He's not a Harry Kane. He's probably like the next level player. He's not going to score 40 goals for us. He's going to be, if he scores 15 goals for us, fine. But he's very limited technically. You may score bags of goals at Coventry. You may go bags of goals in the Super Premier League or in Portugal. But Arsenal's a different level, and I can think of about 3 or 4 strikers in Europe, few that are better than him. I think the player that Arteta wanted was Šeško, because Šeško, Arsenal's not built for like a kind of that type of number 9. We're built for like a split striker and a false number 9. If he was like a Haaland type player, then of course he'd be an exception. But really and truly, time would tell. But as far as I'm concerned, there's better out there than him. And I think we bought him because Berta wants to apply for right now rather than someone who can take us in the future. But I'm here to be proven wrong. But right now, is he elite? Do me a favour. Is he top class? Do me a favour. But who knows? We'll find out at the end of the season.
Yeah, indeed. Gary, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find you on social media? What are you up to at the moment? Anything interesting?
Well, hopefully Kenny will find me in his inbox come Sunday evening if we beat Arsenal. Sorry, Ken, I had to get that in, mate. No, but listen, I will say it's great being on with Ken. If there is one Arsenal fan out there that I do get on with and really respect and enjoy chatting to, it is Kenny Ken. He does keep it very real. So clap for that, Ken, because you are.
No, you like Sophie as well, and she's on tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I do like Sophie. Yeah, no, I do like.
No,
Sophie.
you know what? She's me big sis because we're the Finsbury Park massive. So look after me, sis.
Well, you keep it real though. That's what I like.
This is the banter. This is the banter one. This is the banter episode, and we do the serious. We do the serious one tomorrow.
The serious one tomorrow.
Oh, fair enough.
But yeah, get for me, Chris. I'll be popping up on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. Give us a follow. Maloney 13 on Facebook. I only really share cat videos and anything to do with football. And that's it. And then all weekend, where am I? Friday, I'm in Bushy Metropolitan on a show that I've organised. Saturday in the day, I'm in Essex. Saturday night, I'm in Essex. And then Sunday, I'm either watching the game from behind the sofa or I'm at the game. I don't quite know yet. But what I do know one thing, if we win that game, Kenny will be able to hear me from North London, even though I'm in West. Let me tell you that.
I don't think we've ever had a guest say that at the end. I'm sharing cat videos on Instagram.
Yeah, I love cat videos. I literally, especially this new AI thing where you can see the cats rapping and all that. I love them, man. They're brilliant.
Oh, Gary, thank you so much, Gary. Craig, how can you beat that?
I can't. But I agree. I do like cat videos as well.
They're brilliant, aren't they?
It's just the ones where you get a cat just misbehaving and they're telling the cat off. I think they're fantastic. Anyway, I'm a cat person. At Dearman 9 on X, if you want to give me a follow, that's great. And I have to echo Gary's thoughts about Kenny Ken, absolutely top guy, and love sharing the podcast with you before the North London derby, whether that be home or away. So hopefully I'll see you again when we play you next year.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And Kenny, as the guys have already said there, top guest, thank you so much. We love all your football knowledge and the banter with you. And I've no doubt that I'll see you before the game, will I, outside the stadium?
Well, I know I'm going to get a little message and say, where are you? Why aren't you here yet? Like I did last time. So I'm looking forward to seeing you before the game. Because, I do enjoy that aspect of the North London derby. And I just want to say, I really, really enjoy it in this podcast as well. I'm always hopeful. Every time I get the email, said, you want to come on? Yeah, damn right, I love to come on here. I love it. So, Craig, love working with you as well. Gary, you little rotter. If you think of Gary, what Gary doesn't tell you, there's also videos in topless. Trust me,
No, they know about them videos, Ken.
You know what I mean?
Surely not.
You know what I mean? I swear he waxes as well. I
do, mate. Yeah, I do.
Kenny, you wouldn't believe. We went on a European away together, Gary and I, and we shared a room. And he was up first. He was getting ready. I woke up, and he went. The first thing he said to me is, "Chris, you don't realise how how much people would pay for this to wake up next to a dream boy."
I'm not wrong.
I honestly didn't know what to say.
Hey, I only found that when I went on your Instagram. I was like, oh, bloody hell, that's that. Because when you said you were going to Bush and all that, I was like, oh, he's doing that.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
You got the talent to prove it as well.
Mate, listen, if you want to go to your game at Tottenham, you got to take your clothes off for a living because it ain't cheap. Let me tell you.
I see what you mean, but yeah, we have to do same at Arsenal. Big borrows still. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gary, Craig, Kenny, thank you so much for your time. Kenny, look forward to seeing you on Sunday before the game. Might even have a pint, mightn't we?
Yay!
I haven't had a drop of alcohol since 2012.
Okay, we'll have a cup of tea. We'll have a cup of tea.
Or decaf coffee.
That's it.
Like posh North London style, decaf coffee.
We'll push the boat out. Yes. Right. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for listening. And let's hope that Spurs can get a result on Sunday at the Emirates because it has been far too long. Wouldn't it be putting us in a great mood going into that PSG game in the Champions League the following Wednesday? Anyway.
We got Bayern Munich, that day. If we lose,
we don't care. We don't care.
No. I don't know. If Harry Kane gets the winner, I think you will care, won't you?
Oh, God,
Oh yeah, we'll care then. I will care then. Yeah, yeah. Yes, absolutely. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for listening, and until the next one, come on, you Spurs.